ostrich wasn't meant to be received, so you're not supposed to eat an ostrich. But all of that God made to be received, then you're supposed to eat it. But they'll take that and say, well, God said, if you pray over this pork, you can eat it. And God didn't say that. He said the food that was meant to be received, that he made. Everything God made is good, but God won't talking about certain things. When you read Leviticus, God told you everything you need to eat. He said, because the other stuff you eat that won't meant to eat, if you eat it, it's going to make you sick. You would have fell sick. So why would you eat something that eat poison out of the earth? Why would you eat something that eat poison out of the water? You know what I mean? Why would you eat bugs that God clean up the earth? You don't eat those things. You eat the ones that he told you to eat. Then your body will stay healthy. So don't let nobody switch that on you, because they're going to tell you that. For it is sanctified by the word of God and prayer. Now, that kind of turns me, you know what I mean? Because now, God here is dealing with, through Paul, to deal with Timothy as a preacher, to tell him things. So now, I have to look back and watch that Job and how Job's life was to understand God as a slave. Now, Job, the Bible says he was a perfect and an upright man, one that feared God and turned away from evil and eschewed evil. But God still allowed Job to go through all this pain, all this heartache, all this trouble. He still allowed the devil to attack Job and sit back and not do nothing. Hey, you watch God, you every time you think you know something about him, you find out you really don't know nothing. Because God attacks at God, the things that happen, you can think God is displeased with you when God really is pleased with you. He's just letting you go through something else because it's something that he needs you to do. He needs to be already done went through it. So when you get there, you'll know what to do. So you can't figure God out or what God doing. You think Job could figure out all this stuff will come against him? All he had was his son. He said, still though he slay me, yet would I trust him. And I will hold my integrity before him. I still stay like I am. Even though I don't understand nothing that's going on, I'm still going to stay in this place. And he refers him as a slayer. And God looks at this thing and says, all Job went through, he didn't charge God foolishly with his mouth at one time. Did he say anything ignorant about God? Through his body, through everything he would attack, he didn't say a word. But the Bible says here in Timothy, everything meant to be received through the word and prayer. And that kind of turns things because God just ain't talking about food no more. All right. Because he was just talking about food, he wouldn't talk about being a good minister of the gospel. Because Paul already preached threefold. And Paul now is writing to Timothy twofold. You got to catch that. He preached threefold. He preached to the Gentiles, to the people, and to the kings. That means he could go up to Raleigh before all the governors and know how to preach the gospel. He could go out there and to the kings, you know what I'm saying, and preach another way. To the people of God, he knew how to deal with them. So every level you get to, you're supposed to know how to minister to who you minister to. Now he's writing to Timothy twofold. And he's saying, listen to this. Tell them the meat that God created for them to eat, let them eat. But Timothy, there's something deeper to this thing that I want you to know. Because you came up from a Greek, your father was Greek. And now you got to understand, you know, your mother was Hebrew, your father is Greek. You got to understand something about your ministry. But turn the book of Acts, and we're going to deal with it. Turn the book of Acts, because I want you to catch this. Why I tell you he was preaching twofold. Acts chapter 10. Turn to Acts chapter 10, because you got to see this to understand what I'm talking about here. Acts chapter 10, I'm going to begin reading in verse 9. Verse 9, Acts chapter 10. Paul is talking twofold to Timothy. Let me show you what he's talking about. Verse 9 say, on the morrow, as they went on their journey and drew nigh to the city, Peter went up upon the housetop to pray about the 6th hour. And he became very hungry and would have eaten, but while they made ready, he fell into a trance and saw heaven open and a certain vessel descending unto him, as it had been a great sheet knit at the four corners and let down to the earth, wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts and creeping things, and fowls of the air. And there came a voice to him, Rise, Peter, kill and eat. That means slay and eat. Watch this. But Peter said, No, Lord, not so. Not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean, defiled and dirty. And the voice spake unto him again the second time, What God hath cleansed, that call not thou common. Now cast that. Now watch this. Now I said Paul was writing to Timothy. He said everything that was made that God created to eat, that you eat. That were meant to be received. And then he said, and then he come down further and said, but some gonna come and try to tell you don't eat certain meats. You gotta catch it. Watch out for those doctrines, or them old women, them other ones telling you don't eat, them preachers tell you don't eat certain things. And now here go Peter. Here going to Joppa, and Peter is sitting in a house of Simon the tanner. And he ready to go in the house, but he goes up on top of the house to pray, to get away from around everybody else so he can pray. And while he on the housetop, he becomes hungry. And he would have went on down and ate, but they weren't ready, they won't finish cooking. And while he waiting, he goes into a trance while he praying. And while he's in a trance, God allows a sheet of meat, a thing with knit, with all kind of meat, and wild beasts, and fowls of the air, and insects on it, and saying, Peter, rise, kill and eat. And as he's looking at it, he's sitting there looking at it, he's saying, I got to be somewhere else. So, God, you wouldn't tell me to eat that. I ain't eating none of that. I ain't never ate none of that stuff, God. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't going to get up and kill that and eat it. Even though I'm hungry right now, I ain't going to eat that. And God sit there and tell the second time, I'll say it again, and he said, what God said, what I have cleansed, that called not common unclean. And that began to deal with me, because when I look at the slayer, because now he bringing down a sheet of meat. And he putting all this stuff with us saying, and all kind of animals up there. And he know that Peter going to look at it the way he see it and what he been told all his life and say, Lord, I ain't never. He knew what Peter was going to say before he said it. Peter said, Lord, I ain't never ate nothing that you told me not to eat. So I ain't going to eat that even though you bringing it down. Because I feel like it testing me. And God, even in the middle of him thinking he being tested, God tell him, don't you call nothing I cleanse common unclean. And now I begin to look back at Timothy, and I begin to realize what God doing here. You know what I'm saying? God is dealing with Timothy, with Paul through Timothy, and then now he dealt with Peter beforehand about about the same thing. Peter never ate unclean meat. Any animal unclean, so he telling God he wasn't going to do it. But God said that, but with the way you look at things is not the way I want you to see things. See, some of us got a problem with it, because when we look at things, we can look at it until our own self say, this ain't clean. And because it ain't clean, I ain't dealing with it. God can't have nothing to do with that, because it ain't clean. When God telling you all the time, well, how can you know what I've cleaned and what I haven't cleaned? I don't need your eyes to look at something and tell me what's clean and not clean. How many times do you determine in your day when you see somebody that, hey, that person can't be saved, that person can't be got no affiliation with God the way they look. And the moment you start judging, God looking at you right there, and the same seat of me showed Peter, why is it that you can tell me what's not clean and what's not right? How can you tell me what I can receive and what I can't receive when I just told you all things through prayer and thanksgiving is meant to be received? Huh? Not one person that's out here can't be saved through prayer and thanksgiving. And while you constantly watching everybody through your own eyes, you missing God. You missing the slayer, because the slayer is trying to slay you and the other person at the same time. And while you trying to judge, you missing God. God said, don't you call nothing I made common or unclean. You ain't no better than they are. I'm slaying you the same way I want to slay them. I'm going to slay them, but I'm going to slay you first. I'm slaying you because you think you know who I am and what I want and who I am, but you really don't know nothing about me. The Lord told me to tell how many people you look at and make your judgment and say they unclean. How many times you walk around and think that you better than somebody else, and God can clean you up, but he can't clean them up. He's slaying you, but you don't think he can slay them. What make you think that way? Because your mind came up with you, and every time you see something, first thing you do is judge what you see. Instead of the contents of a man's heart, you judge his outside. How many times you look at somebody outside and predetermine what they are? You don't really know what they are, because you never know. You didn't know where they came from. So how can you judge them where they at now? You don't know what's in their heart. All you doing is seeing them now because they're hard, because somebody been hurt somewhere and won't nobody help them heal. But when we see them, first thing we say, well, God can't be over there. Well, how you know God ain't over there? You don't know who God already chose. God said, I need somebody that'll give my word to somebody that don't look like they look, that look totally different from them. I need somebody that'll get on my word that I can slay them. I want to slay somebody, but I need somebody that won't look and judge somebody else and I'll give them my love that I might be able to slay them. But God is in the killing flesh business. And while you trying to fight against him killing your flesh, he ain't never going to stop. You can refuse God, but God ain't going to stop trying to kill your flesh. That's what Job told you from the beginning. God been trying to kill flesh from the beginning. Because flesh sinned against God in the beginning. So God been trying to kill the spirit and flesh while you trying to fight to hold on to flesh. God trying to kill it. And when you begin to think you understand this story, you will find out you really don't understand. Because Peter was wise in Christ. And he knew everything, but yet he didn't understand that God can go into any vessel. Just because it might look that way unclean, God can go into anywhere and get in there when he want to and clean it. There ain't nobody on this earth that been born that God can't clean. He can clean anything that he want to. And you ain't nobody that's better than anybody else. You need to constantly tell yourself that thing. The moment you judge somebody, you take the place of God. Because God can clean anything he wants to clean. God is a slayer. And he slays by the word. Every time your flesh round, he throw the word back at you. Every time you think you know something, he throw the word back at you. Every time you think you're going somewhere, he throw the word back at you. Because he's trying to get you to a place where he tell you all the way down. Because until he tell you all the way down, he can't use you the way he want to use you. And God says, some of y'all been trying to stop me from slaying you. Some of y'all, you say one thing with your mouth. But when it comes down to really giving yourself wholly to me, you keep right on fighting against me. And you're trying to fool the people you're around, but it always show up on you. You can't fool nobody, because God will make you say, whatever you did in the dark, gonna come to the light. You always say, and God always try to do my best, and God always try to follow you. You say it with your mouth. But when the slave come at you, you run and hide. You know why? Because you love that flesh more than you do God. He just wanted to kill you. Ain't nothing wrong with dying. He said, whosoever will save their life will what? Lose it. And whosoever will lose their life will what? But why you trying to save it? Am I right? Why y'all fight so hard to save your flesh? It ain't nothing but a mess. Anyway, it messed up. It messed up against God. That's why Jesus had it from. And now you fight to hold on to the same thing. Listen to this. Nobody in here can change themselves. All right. Anytime I hear somebody say, I get up. They ain't going down. And every time somebody attacks you, you say, you ain't going down. But when the slayer, if you be looking like those that though he slayed me, then when I trust him, then I know you're doing something then. I know you changed it then. I know whatever you're going through, you was on that kind of thing. I know how to get you together out. When you understand that it's him trying to save you, when you understand that it's him putting the devil, he allowed the devil to come at you. Now he's trying to keep you so well, and you can die for who you are, and you can die for who you are. He'll raise you back up. And that anybody that die, that he might be able to raise you back up. All he got to do is kill that man that don't need on it, so he can get you back up. I'll give you a word and get you back up. Even though you be dead, yes, that will live again. Get back up again. I want you to die now. I need somebody that really already slay you right now so I can get him back up again. I need some new people. I need a new creation. I need old stuff to pass away. I need something new. I'm a slayer, and I'm going to slay you to stay with me. And while you trying to tuck your death is permanent, it got you from to you. While you're fighting and trying to get away from what God already said He is, you hold up your own process. Because the thing He put in you to do, you'll never do until you die first. All your prayers are being on your willingness to lay down your life and be saved. Let Him rip you apart. Let Him tear everything up you don't need. Let Him do whatever He wants to do. Whatever He wants to do. Let Him do. And stop telling God things in your mind. And when it comes time for them to do it, you sit right back and turn around and judge somebody else. Point your finger at somebody else. Always find wrong with somebody else. And don't find jack wrong with yourself. He can't kill you because you think you're better than somebody else. God, whatever you want me to do with Him, when He says, okay, take this. If they hadn't did this, how about you? What you doing? Take back the word. Stop telling God to kill and then you don't want to die. When I'm talking about this kill, you know what I'm talking about. If I go die, I'll come back up. But if I don't never go down, how am I going to come back up? If you're a slave and He tells you, I'm your kind of sheep for the soul. And He say, I'm going to tell you to shoot the devil at you. I'm going to let the devil come at you. You know why I'm going to fight against the devil when I ain't got to fight? If the devil comes to me, it's my job to fight him. It's God's job to fight him. If you don't let him kill you, the quicker you leave. And this is what I'm talking about. Is your eyes open. The things you ain't even begin to see. If you want to hear God, you first have to lay down. If you're not hearing God right now, that means you ain't been killed. Because when tear your flesh up, there's nothing to get in your way. Your mind is gone. So you lay down your flesh and you'll hear him tell you things eyes have not seen, ears have not heard. But if you walk with him, you got to know he's a slave. Anybody know he's a slave? Well, if you didn't know, then welcome to the slave. Welcome to the slave. God is a slave. God is in the killing slave. If you didn't know that, now you know. He's in the killing slave, and he ain't going to stop killing your flesh until it's all done. You keep right on fighting and watch how you keep right on killing it. Every time you turn around, it's going to be some trouble. Every time you turn around, it's going to be some heartache. Every time you turn around, it's going to be some turmoil. Until you lay down that flesh and say, God, whatever you want to do with me, tear it up, God. Tear it up. I don't need it no more, God. Tear it up. Tear it up right now, God. I need you to rip me apart. Rip me apart right now. God, I'm messing up. I need to hear you, God. God is a slayer. God is trying to tear all our flesh, that he might put his word in our spirit and cleanse us from all ungodliness. Everything that has defiled us